But the saddest one was one time, an insane Chinese got into our compound in our camp,
Mhm.
and the Japanese caught him. So they tied his hands behind his back and he tied his feet together.
Mhm.
And then they called us all out
Mhm.
into the compound and told us to stand and watch.
Mhm.
And so what they did is, this poor guy, he was nuttier than a fruitcake. And so they lit cigarettes and put it out all over his face and his neck.
Mhm.
And they told us to watch it. She said, any one of you, of course they always had interpreters. Any one of you try to escape, the same thing will happen to you. Well, escape would be the dumbest thing you could possibly do because you're in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
And the Chinese would sell you back to the Japanese right now, so that was foolish. So then they gave him what you call the death of 1,000 cuts.
Mhm.
They take their bayonet and they cut him all over his whole torso, inch deep,
Mhm.
and well, the size of a sword.
Mhm.
They just slice him
Mhm.
all over his whole body. The guy was screaming, crying. And we had to stand and watch it. But you know what is amazing? They told us we could close our eyes. We had to watch. But it's amazing how many of the people never saw it.
Mhm.
Because you can look at something and force your mind not to see it.
Mhm.
You hear the screams, but we did see part of it when it started, with the cuts. We saw it happening, so that we realized. So that's when you, I don't know how you do it,
Mhm.
but you just do it.
Mhm.
You look at something, but you don't see it.
Mhm.
So then we stood there under the hot sun, and they left him there to die in the burning sun. And there was nothing we could do.
Mhm.
And then they caught two more.
Mhm.
They caught an old man and and his son. And they tied him up and they put a bowl of water and a bowl of rice in front of them, but they couldn't reach it.
And were they Chinese too, or were they
Chinese.
They were Chinese.
They were Chinese too. They also accidentally came into our camp.
Mhm.
So then one of the boys, he spoke fluent Chinese. He snuck sometime during the night, and he freed them. But the old man said, don't free me, free my son. He's young, he can run. He says, I'm too old, I can't run. I'm terribly arthritic, I can't run. He says, I will die soon. So they did. They let the young man go and the old man stayed. Well, when the Japanese got up the next morning, they were furious. They wanted to know who did this.
Mhm.
Of course, we girls knew who did it, but nobody else in the camp knew who did it. They knew somebody did it, they didn't know who. So then the Japanese got real mad, and they gave us nothing to eat for 4 days.
Mhm.
No food, no nothing,
Mhm.
to teach us a lesson. Well, it didn't teach us a lesson. We just lost weight.
Mhm.
That's all.